Good morning and welcome to this live Zoom broadcast from the Springfield, Vermont Unitarian Universalist community. My name is Pat Callahan and I'm one of the trustees. For generations, we have envisioned a world made fair by preaching love and the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We don't expect to think alike, but we welcome all people who share our vision of a better, peaceful, and equitable world. Thank you for sharing this time with us. We'll have time at the end of the broadcast to introduce guests and make announcements. Welcome.
Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go for it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Howard Thurman.
Thank you so much, Reverend Robin and Sharon and everyone. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. Come into this place of peace and let its silence heal your spirit. Come into this place of memory and let our stories change your mind. Come into this place of prophecy and power and let our collective vision heal your heart. Whoever you are, whatever you are, we bid you welcome to this time of worship. I want to say a special welcome to the Empowerment Center. We have with us 4 wonderful speakers, Reverend Robin, who is from Georgia, and Reverend Crystal Owens, who is from the Empowerment Center, and Usher Moses, who is also from the Empowerment Center. And this is the beginning of our series on Howard Thurman. And each of us is here because we love Howard Thurman, and we feel from the depth of our heart that his teachings, his way of being in the world, the legacy that he has left us is the medicine that we really need for these times. So we're delighted that you have chosen to be with us. We want to say a special welcome to the folks from the Empowerment Center and to Robin's students in Georgia and to the Barry Church, the First Universalist Church in Barry, Vermont, and all the members who are with us from that group, and from the Stratford Universalist Church in Stratford, Vermont, and everyone else who, by whatever means, found your way here with us this morning. So I have for you a story. Oh, let me mention one other person, Omid Safi. Deb, if you could pop his photo up. I'm really delighted. There will be actually 5 speakers, the 4 of us, and Omid Safi will join us. And from now until May, one of us will be preaching on the 3rd Sunday of every month on the life and teachings of Howard Thurman. So this is Omid Safi. He is a professor of religious studies and Islamic studies at Duke University. And he also has been completely inspired by the Universalist work, the healing work of the life of Howard Thurman. Thanks, Deb. So we'll look forward to hearing from Omid as well. So I have a kid's story for you. And for this story, where am I here? Yeah. The best way to understand Howard Thurman is to hear his own voice. So there are some wonderful interviews of him, and Sharon is going to do a screen share and show you a couple of minutes of him talking about his childhood. Actually, he grew up in Florida, and guess what? Growing up in Florida was really important in his life. So these interviews are really wonderful. The information on the interviews is on our website, or it will be very soon. Our intern is working on that. So if this wets your whistle for more of Howard Thurman, definitely check out these beautiful interviews of him. So as I said, Thurman grew up around the ocean. So I want to ask you right now to face the Atlantic Ocean. For me, wherever you are, okay? So for me, it's about that direction. So feel yourself, feel the power of the ocean. And feel where we are in relation to each other now. You see, we're all lined up. We're all facing, most of us are facing east. I don't think Vernon's on in Germany, but I think all of us are on this continent. So the Atlantic Ocean is east for most of us. And feel where we are in relation to each other. Chrissy, I feel you way up there on the border of Canada. And Crystal and Robin and Usher, I feel you down to my right, to the south. So here we are aligned, and there's the Atlantic Ocean. Feel the power of that ocean. Whoosh. Imagine you're at the ocean. Whoosh. What are you hearing when you're at the ocean? When Howard Thurman talks about his life and his boyhood, walking along that ocean was one of the most important things for him. He felt connected with the source. He loved walking at night in the dark and seeing the stars. And he also loved trees. And he would sit with his back against a tree and he would talk to God, the source, the ultimate. And he saw the tree as really strong. You know, these big storms would come up and he saw that the tree was steady. The top would move, but the trunk was steady. And it gave him the inspiration that no matter what was thrown at him, he could be like the tree. He could be steady too. So imagine yourself out in nature, a tree behind your back, feel the waves, and make some sounds for yourself. What are you hearing at the ocean? Birds, maybe? What are you hearing? And I want to do a soundscape. So unmute yourself if you would, and make some ocean sounds. Imagine you're like Howard Thurman sitting at the ocean. Let's do a soundscape. So unmute yourself and add your sound, your ocean sounds, maybe birds, whatever.
No sound.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much. So for Thurman, connection with nature was foundational. And connection with nature meant connection with source, with God, with the ultimate. So how about you? When's the last time you went to the ocean? Or if you're landlocked like me up here in Vermont, when's the last time you went to a body of water? When's the last time you sat under a tree and talked to the depth of your own being and to spirit? Thurman is inviting you to go outside, to connect with the ocean, with the trees, and in so doing, connect with the depth of your being. So it doesn't work to have a theory about, oh yeah, I like nature. Go do it. What makes you come alive, as Robin said in our opening, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive and go do it, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And for most of us, being in nature makes us come alive and connect with our source. So thank you for listening to that story. And here is a song that perfectly embodies the way Thurman lived. It's called I Brought My Spirit to the Sea.
Good morning again. And I just want to say, in reflecting on all that's going on in the world today, and this being the beginning of the series for this Howard Thurman journey, I just would like to tell you that this particular writing of Howard Thurman's came to the forefront of my mind, and I would like to share this with you. It's entitled, God Restoreth My Soul. The ravages of time are at work in me. I remember when to do the wrong thing brought sharp and swift judgment to my mind and to my spirit. Then there followed a period when much in me that was sensitive to error grew dull and numb. There was no marked and dramatic change, simply the quiet wearing away of the sharp and pointed consciousness of wrong. Until at last, there were the dead places, the barren spots. It may have been some passing remark from a thoughtful friend, or a flash of light from a forgotten moment of searching prayer, or a challenge to sympathy to which my mind alone responded, but of which my feelings were unaware. Then I knew how far I had drifted. And in the wake of that awareness, God moved the swiftness of the eagle in the hunt. The miracle had happened. He had restored my soul. The drain on my spirit from so much of hardship, the tearing of the brambles in my path have taken their toll. All the energies seem to spend themselves merely in keeping going. The excuses of weariness and exhaustion seem ever at hand and anxious to serve. Again and again, the words flowed into me. It takes too much effort to go the second mile. Why should I care so much? No one else seems to be bothered. It is all I can do to handle the necessities of my own life, and that I do poorly. On and on, the stream flowed unchecked. Then, somewhere along the way, all seeing wrong, I took time aside for checking before God. I told him all about my increasing dullness, wearisome detail after wearisome detail. When I finished, I was spent. While I waited in my exhaustion, strength and renewal were at work in me. Weakness made strong, exhaustion transformed into energies. Deep within, there was born the declaration that this risk I must never run again. I know now that God restored my soul moment by moment, if the door is not held tightly against him, or if it is not permitted to jam by too much cares and weariness. God restoreth my soul.
Thank you so much, Reverend Robin, for those beautiful words from Howard Thurman. And we have a really wonderful treat in store, which is a piece of music that the choir has put together. Some of you may recognize the name of the poet Amanda Gorman, who spoke at Biden's inauguration. Well, an artist put together this song based on the poem by Amanda Gorman. So go for it, Jelaine.
There is always a light when we are ready to see it. There is always a light when we are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill. Together we will. There is always a light in the dark when we are ready to see it. There is always a light in the dark when we are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, and be to climb this gift. Together we will.
There is always
There is always a light.
There is always
We are
Thank you so much to Jelaine and the Virtual Choir that put that together. What inspiring words. Be the light. That's what Howard Thurman is telling us, to not just look outside for someone else, but in these interesting times, we need you. We need you to come alive and be the light. Bring your light and love into the world. So I hope what we just did in terms of the ocean, of facing the Atlantic Ocean, which is east for me this way, that you feel we're not just bodies on a screen, we're human beings connected on the planet and connected to each other. Most of you are that way for me. Hello, everyone. I feel you. I know you're here. And Chrissy up north. So connecting with the earth was a lot of where Howard Thurman's spiritual connection came from. So the best way to learn about Howard Thurman is in his own words. So I'm going to show you, there's these two wonderful, wonderful interviews of him. Okay, great. Here he is.
Preachers in America is a modern black man. He is also a kind of universal spirit who has broken many racial, economic, and religious barriers and has become increasingly recognized as a special witness both to the worthiness of every individual and to the unity of all mankind. Numerous universities and church bodies have showered honorary degrees and special awards upon him. He has published more than 20 books and a considerable number of poems and pamphlets, many of them reflecting his deep personal mysticism. In all of this, he has attempted to speak through and above the noisy conflicts of nationality, culture, and ideology to what he has called the hunger of the human heart. In his crowded workroom library, we talked about his life and his insights into life. Dr. Thurman, sitting here in your study in San Francisco, on the edge of the Pacific, your mind must go back rather frequently to your boyhood in Florida, on the shores of the Atlantic. What was your world like in Daytona Beach when you were a boy?
Well, there's several things that come to mind. The first is that I saw Barney Oldfield break the world record in his automobile.
On that beach?
On that beach when I was a little boy. And he ran maybe something like a mile a minute, some phenomenal speed like that. But my world was surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean, the Halifax River, which is a lagoon of the Atlantic Ocean, and a large wooded area in which there were huckleberries, wild grapes, and rattlesnakes. A very happy combination.
And live oaks dripping moss, I suppose.
That's right. And in our backyard was a large oak tree, which was my companion and my comfort, because in the fall of the year, when the storms came up from the Caribbean, as we called it as a boy, the wind would tear the limbs from the trees, but my old oak tree would just move like this, absorbing all the violence of the wind. And we developed something so that I would go and sit my back against the oak tree to talk to it about all. And I felt if I could ever get to it, then I could be heard, I could be listened to, and so forth. Now, the other part of my world of nature had to do with the dark nights and the quiet roar of the Atlantic and the stars that were so bright it seemed as if you could reach up and pluck them out. And I had a sense from my earliest memory of being a part of this whole rhythmic flow of life. And my earliest religious experience was identified with that sort of thing, so that I would talk aloud to God, for instance, in that setting. And if someone came along, they would wonder what on earth was going on. But this this had more religious meaning for me than the things that happened in church. Now that's the
So there's Howard Thurman in his own words. What a wonderful, wonderful human being. So how about you? Do you feel that you are part of the livingness of life? Sometimes we can be so lost in our computers, our houses, that we get disconnected. We get sadly disconnected from the earth and from what really matters. So I want to share with you another piece by Howard Thurman. Here we go. So these two interviews were done, and they're gems. So I really encourage you, if you have more interest in learning more about Thurman, to avail yourselves of these. So let me do another screen share.
not merely identity about race or culture, but my identity as a living being, but uniquely me, on the one hand. Now, the other side of the paradox, it seems to me, is the absolute necessity for relating to all of the crucial elements in the external world, people and so forth and so on, that because you are part of everything, and in a sense a part of everybody, and yet so that if I were to phrase it in a category, it would be something like this: that the only way that I can be at home everywhere is to be sure that I'm at home somewhere. So that this is how, so that deep within the experience of my own self, in its profoundest sense, is the key to the experiencing of every other living thing and every other person. It is not an accident, for instance, to me, that I don't know where I first read the statement, the formulation of this idea, but when I read it, I recognized that I'd been thinking this a long time. That happens to us many times. And that is that the religion out of which has come the great concept of universalism. I refer to Judaism and the 8th century and 7th century prophets, is also the religion that is very in its genius, a very private, exclusive, unique religion that within the tight circle of uniqueness, when you move down into it, what you do is you come up inside of every other living person. You don't go this way, which I think is the way of the sociologist, the political philosopher, but the way of the man of religion, it seems to me, is that he goes down in himself, and what he discovers there, he universalizes, so that when he looks into the face of a man, he sees his face. One of the middle-aged philosophers of the Middle Ages, whose name I don't remember, said that the statement, "Know thyself," has been taken more mystically from the statement, thou hast seen thy brother, thou hast seen thy God. Now
Yes, 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 yes. That's the sacred journey that we are on these 8 months, to go deep inside ourselves and come up inside the other person so that we know when we look at someone else, we're looking at ourselves. Thurman was a universalist with a small u. And he said one of our biggest problems is this dualism of you're different than me. We have to transcend the dualism and come home to ourselves, find that sacredness and being in nature, being by the ocean, connecting with the trees, going deep inside. And when we do this, we know the unity of all life. And we know that we are absolutely connected with every other person. So I'm going to turn this over to Crystal. And I'm so delighted, Crystal, that you're with us today. Crystal is the director of the Empowerment Center in Cheverly, Maryland, and she's also a professor at Goddard College and an enthusiast of Howard Thurman. So take it from here, Crystal, if you would.
Thank you, Melon. This is, just a wonderful opportunity for us to gather and to take a moment to look at a person's life, the individual Howard Thurman, and see aspects of him in us. I think that's the very important part of how we can find ourselves having sensitivity to each other, is that even if it's just one little aspect, one similarity that we see within each one of us, that brings an interconnectedness that binds us together as a force of one. I'll share a couple things of Howard Thurman and go in more depth next month. But I had the opportunity when I was at Virginia Union's School of Theology. It's a school, small Baptist college in Richmond, Virginia. And in my second year in seminary, there was an elective, and I didn't even know about this individual until around that time. And it was a special course. I don't even think they ran it again, but on Howard Thurman. And I decided to take this elective, and I was like, this is interesting. Learned more about it and this individual. And then it was something that just came alive in me. It just created different points of light that I saw in myself, that I struggled with in ministry, because oftentimes I found in ministry was the fanfare, some of the things that I really didn't think was as important as some of the things that Howard Thurman was really hitting home at. It's really not in the noise of life. It's really in the silent moments of life that matters. And for me, Howard Thurman awakened that need to have one of the books that he highlighted was the Meditations of the Heart. And I think that it really gathers for all of us a sense of contemplation, a real sense of centering ourselves for the real important parts of life. We get distracted with, I would say, the facades, whether it's wealth, whether it's clothing, whether it's, infighting, whether it's, issues of discord. And we get all excited about that. But Howard Thurman helped me to really see that it's in the quiet moments of looking at the stars. It's in the experiences of sitting at a beach and hearing the waves clashing in and out, and how we are really a part of all of these things. And so that class, I really appreciate the professor. He was actually the dean of the school that led the class, Dr. John Kinney. And that class really got me to contemplate how ministry and counseling and psychology, all of that grew as an honor of his work. All of us have aspects of Howard Thurman in us. And it is up to us to really find an opportunity to allow that to take fruition. There's a quote that I would like to read, and it will highlight what I think points to what Mellon and others have been saying about this experience of Howard Thurman. And it reads, "The deeper I go, the more into I find myself. None of the categories of classification, of faith, belief, etc., have any standing in the presence of this transcendent experience. Because I think that whether I am Black, white, Presbyterian, Baptist, Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, in that the presence of God, all these categories by which we relate to each other fade away and have no significance whatsoever. For in his presence, I am a part of him being revealed to him." And that is Howard Thurman. He was often, maligned among his colleagues because I was Baptist, I would say, and I would say that he didn't have the fire and brimstone personality, but rather he was often soft-spoken and really wasn't a part of the way things was done within a Black church experience. And rather, he was a mystic, a forerunner of deep thinking of the spirit, I would say. And his work is continuing even right now on what we're doing. And it's just a wonderful experience for us to really go down deep and deep so that we can find ourselves and find what is important in life. And that for me is what Howard Thurman really resonates in my heart, is going deep within and expressing through our lives how wonderful and how powerful our our Creator is in this life. It's through us, and it comes alive in us. And I want to thank you.
Wow. Ooh, thank you so much, Crystal. That was so powerful. And what I heard through what you just shared was the way out of all of any situation that we're going through is the way we have to go inward and then come back out. And Howard Thurman said that himself. We have to go in. The way out is by going inward. And this is a magnificent journey. And it's also so important to find that mystic within us, to take that. He has a book called For the Inward Journey, to take that inward journey. And that's what I heard you speak to this so beautifully. Thank you for sharing that, Crystal, this morning. And Melon, I think now we're going to have our closing prayer by Reverend Usher.
Good morning, beloved. How are you? This is a wonderful opportunity to share in this gathering. Just before I start the prayer, I just want to let you know that it's not just an honor, but I work at a university. I work at Howard University, and where Howard Thurman was the dean of the chapel. And not too many students know about Howard Thurman, and so this has given me the energy to share this information. I have the platform to be able to connect with a lot of students. So this is a blessing to be a part of this gathering. And so I just want to thank this wonderful opportunity to be a part of a wonderful, wonderful experience, to share the life and times of Howard Thurman, who had such an amazing impact on the planet, amazing impact on people's lives, particularly Martin Luther King. And so I just wanted to just share that before I start our prayer. So let us just take this opportunity to look within. Whatever you do when you pray, you can bow your heads, close your eyes, whatever you like to do. We take this opportunity to pay homage and respect to the universal God force and to the person that we are honoring today and for the next 8 months. Let us bow our heads. Divine universal God force, we are deeply and thankful and profoundly grateful for this divine gathering. We're thankful to honor and dedicate this time to the life and spiritual journey of a mystic, lover of people, and spiritual influencer, Howard Thurman. We are thankful for our prophets, our prophetess, our ancestors, and our way showers. Howard Thurman is one of our supreme way showers. Let us interpret his teachings, and share it with the world, our community, our families, and whoever would love to be aware of this wonderful man. Indeed, this man was an enlightenment to all of us. So let us share with the world that the world is in need of love and enlightenment. And this is a wonderful platform to share this opportunity. We honor the people assembled here today. We honor the legacy of this great man. Let this gathering transform us to make this an impact on this planet and the consciousness of our hearts, minds, and spirits. Let us take this moment, the moment of silence, to just reflect on this gathering today and what we experience in some of the sharings that we have heard today. Let's just take a moment to reflect on the life of Howard Thurman. You can breathe, listen to the ocean in your mind, listen to the breeze of the trees. Let's take this moment to reflect. Divine Source, we're thankful for this wonderful opportunity. Let us hunger for the teaching of this great mystic. Let us hunger for your divine presence within us, around us, and for us. Wherever you are, it is love. Wherever you are, Divine Source, you said that in the teaching that the kingdom of God is within us. Let us transform ourselves. Let us make an impact on this planet, or wherever we are. How small it may be, how large it may be, let us make a wonderful impact on giving love, sharing love, being loved, honoring, being honored. But most of all, let the love flow, the teachings of Howard Thurman flow through us and around us. Let us all say, amen, peace and blessings, hallelujah, amen.
Thank you so much, Brother Usher, for that prayer. Let's share our affirmation. You said what you said, Usher. It's all about love. That's what it comes down to. And for our gathered community, we don't have a complicated doctrine. Our doctrine is love. Boiling it down to what is so simple. So join in these words. And we're so honored to have the Berry Church with us today, members of the Berry Church. This affirmation, which is said but all around the world, was written actually by the minister of the Berry Church back in the 1930s. L. Griswold Williams was his name. So join me. Love is the doctrine of this community. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve the needs of all beings to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with the source of our being. Thank you for that. And now we come back around to where we started. Julaine sang for us, O God of countless names, that we are one humanity. God's too big to fit in one religion. That's a lot of Howard Thurman's message. So Julaine will share with us this beautiful hymn prepared by the virtual choir. It's been such a pleasure to be with everyone today. Go for it, Julaine, and everyone else can mute, please.
Thank you so much, Julaine, and all the singers. That was wonderful. And now is a time, our hearts are so full after this hour of inspiration and beautiful words and music that we have a chance to share what's on our hearts, our joys, our sorrows. And I think with all the people here, we will do our best. If you wave your hand like this, so I can see you, I'll have to scroll back and forth, and then I will call on you, and please share what is on your heart and mind. Okay, I think it is time to extinguish the chalice. And in honor of all those singing bowls you heard, Deb,